about
Bill
it.
does.
Alan Shore, what,
Allen Shore, the one we had a couple months ago, room full of residents
right,
where it's C2 with a PUD overlay.
Oh,
Right.
You go meet all the regulations, still means, even though it's got C2 underneath, it still means it should be about 95, 96% residential. And y'all want to take about 20 acres out there, wave the wand, let it become commercial.
they wanted to remove the PUD altogether, that's what it was here for, was to take the PUD off.
So what's gonna happen now that PUD zoning's going away, or PUD overlay's going away?
well, that one already has a PUD.
I'm asking, I'm not,
It retains the PUD. If it's granted a PUD, they can maintain the PUD.
but you're taking out all the restrictions. In other words, the next person that comes along, if they don't have the previous version of the regs, there's not gonna be any reference to.
It's not like they just go away, but there's gonna be copies in the planning office.
Well, again, that's what I'm asking. So with the PUD overlay there, we're still gonna go back to the existing rules, limits, stipulations.
Right now, that piece of property still has a PUD on it.
Okay, and so y'all are getting rid of the zoning. Doesn't change it.
Unless somebody comes and asks for that PUD to be removed, it'll still be there.
And all the.
All the things that go with it,
That's
yes.
what, that's all I'm looking for, is what's gonna happen in the PUD overlay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your last name again?
Kevin?
Cavan, C-A-V-I-N.
He's a glutton for punishment. He comes to planning commission meetings, county commission meetings.
I can't afford cable.
He loves.
That's the truth.
Rich Aikman.
I got two things I'd like to talk about.
Is either one of them solid waste?
Both of them are.
Oh my God, no. I can't take no more.
Yes, you can. You might like this one. As you're aware, last Tuesday, they approved a 10-page contract amendment, although they sent you a 43-page one. I queried that. Every time I've done a contract, even if it is an amendment, you take the original and you amend it. They're telling me that you leave the original alone and just throw a 10-page overlay over it. I don't know if that works or not, but so be it. Found something though, over in Murfreesboro. They're having a little problem with Republic as well. And they wanted to extend their contract for a substantial number of years. So I brought this to the attention of them and said, do you know that there are two TCAs, I have them here, that provides for the inability for a government body to make any service contract greater than 25 years. I think you have a way to tear that contract up.
Rich, let me help you just one little bit. There's a good chance come September, we may try to take another stab at trying to do something.
Okay.
The least of that could be, we could potentially hunt these attorneys that have written these contracts that have a much favorable outcome than we got.
Mm-hmm.
We may reach out to those, we may take some other kind of action to address that exact thing, 25 years of the maximum contract. We're gonna have to look at what they did. I mean, they FedExed it overnight to them after the meeting, make sure they got the contract the next day to get it all signed and everything. So we're aware, and we're gonna look at our options.
Okay. I'll wait and see what we all do in September because I think this is important.
Yeah, it's real important.
The other thing, when they did the financial sheet, which is a monthly sheet, on the bottom of it is Poplar Springs, and Adam's gonna talk about it later.
I just have some questions.
There's $30,000 that was expended last month to a company called Connor Construction. So I went and looked up Connor Construction, or at least I tried to. It's Bill Connor Construction. There were two addresses in Knoxville. One of them's on Oak Ridge Highway, the other is on Copper Road or something like that. But when you dig further into it, it it's a non-functioning company. The reason I bring it up is because they talked about it in the meeting, and I'm sorry Ms. Brewster isn't here. She couldn't recall who we paid the money to. So I'm very interested in understanding who is Connor, what we pay him, and was it competitively bid? And following that, I have a suggestion because we brought up in that meeting, you only got 27,000 left of the 57,000 for 4 to 4.5 years. May not be enough money. So we asked if we could put a surcharge on the tonnage that goes into the facility over at Matlock Bend, and a contract precludes that. The Solid Waste Commission cannot put any kind of a fee, surcharge, tax, you can call it whatever you like, on any tonnage that comes in there. You're gonna have to replenish that account. There's 2 ways of doing it. The commission, from what Mr. Stevens said, has the right to do that. We take in 140,000 tons a year, so if you wanted to replenish it, 50 cents a ton would get you 70,000, $1 would get you 140. I don't know how much money we're gonna need over the next 5 years, but that's one way to do it.
Well, you know, there's not gonna be much since we only get 9 pennies of the dollar that comes in from the solid
I know,
waste, you know.
but you've got, that's commingling funds, that while they're on this sheet, they're in different accounts, and one came from Poplar Springs when it was functioning, left you with $500,000 plus, which we judiciously spent on the previous fix. I don't know if this fix is permanent. I don't think anybody can tell you that. This is an old landfill. We don't know what's under it, we don't know what's in it. And, from what I understand, it's leachate coming out the side of it, going into the holding pond alongside of it. And it seems to me that there was some talk about that pond's not allowed to escape water downstream, upstream, off the property, into any nearby well. I don't know if there's any nearby wells or not. But we fixed it once, we fixed it twice, we're gonna fix it a 3rd or 4th time. So, Mr. Stevens said y'all had the right to put on a fee, or a tax, or whatever. If that isn't amenable to the county commission and the mayor, how about taking a half cent, 3/4 cent, a full cent out of the 6.9 cents that we set aside for the annex 2 years ago, or any other place that we have retiring debt? The school budget's gonna retire in another year or 2, that's 12.5 cents. And, Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, a penny's worth around 200,000 these days?
A little bit more.
So, a half cent would get you 100,000.
Richard, you're not suggesting we take county tax dollars to do anything for to do anything for Poplar Springs or anywhere else. That's stakeholder owned. That's Lenore City, Loudon, and Loudon County. We're not gonna foot the bill for that. We're not gonna ask taxpayers to foot the bill for that.
Well, the taxpayers put this stuff in there.
I don't know who puts stuff in, but we're not gonna make them pay for it to take care of it. Or not alone, certainly. All the stakeholders have to get in on that one. You need to go talk to all of them about that idea.
And when we can raise the tipping fee, we can tax, we can put a tax on that.
Surcharge.
But all it comes back is we're taxing the taxpayers of the county so the Republic can continue to make their
That's right.
money. I mean,
Right.
instead of them doing
They're
what's
91
right,
hour
yeah.
night.
You know, we're actually giving them more money. It is absolutely, and again, for the 100,000th time, the absolute worst piece of contract that I've ever seen.
But again, it was something that we talked about, brought up, the Solid Waste Commission wanted nothing to do with it. But we're responsible for it, and
Well, how can they nonchalantly spend $30-something thousand
We're
on
gonna
it
get there, Bill, don't worry. It's
if
coming.
they don't want anything to do with it. I mean, I'm just,
Well, that's
I
the
know.
part that I'm curious about, because if I understand it correctly, this work was done somewhere in the first half of the year. The bill came in, it was waived in front of us, said it was worth $30,000. For what? We never saw the invoice, we never saw the work order, we never saw the follow-up. Who did it? How'd you get the contractor? So on and so forth.
Did
All
you say
right.
the name was Bill Connor? Bill Connor?
Bill Connor Excavate.
That's who's doing Queenie Road.
Where?
Queenie Road, Queenie Road behind Romeo's.
I found
Pizza.
2 of them in Knoxville,
Bill Connor Excavating.
This was in Loudon County.
He's done that.
and, they were in business in '73. And according to the Chamber of Commerce, their, I forget what the terminology is, their authorization to be in business is expired and is no longer.
I believe the one that you're referring to on that is actually Loudon County.
It is. We'll get there.
We're gonna get
Bruce,
there.
We're gonna get there.
But that's a state certification. Are they certified by the state to do excavating? I know when I was involved with the POA, this might be for you, Mr. Mayor, we had some people doing sewage in the POA that were not certified. And I would think, because leachate is a sewage, that they would have to have that state certification to do that work. That's something I would check into, as to whether they were permitted to do that kind of work. Forget the money, are they even capable under the state guidelines to do work like that? All right,
Well, it'll be back on item 5.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Pat Hunter.
My name is Pat Hunter, and I'm not going to talk about the landfill.
Man,
My request is just to get an update on the archives record storage facility. I didn't have an opportunity to attend the meetings, so I'd like to get an idea of what's going on. Thank you.
I plan to ask that same question myself, Pat.
We had a meeting, we've had one with the architect, and several things were discussed, whether to, I don't think attaching it to the current building was one of them, was to put a covered walkway. And then we talked about, does it need sprinklers or doesn't it need sprinklers? And so I think Susan or the architect was supposed to call our insurance company and maybe the state fire marshal, and I believe Susan said that they recommended that both buildings need sprinklers, so.
Josh said we did not need them though, per
But we
fire
don't
code.
have to.
Huh?
We don't have to have sprinklers.
That's what Josh said in his
Yeah.
last email.
Well, I'm just recapping.
We're waiting on the same
Oh, yeah.
thing on our building
You
too.
know, and, the price quote was somewhere between 205 or 250 a square foot. And that was with, more or less open spaces, but with storage piling, kind of like they use in the jail that has the kind of the vertical lazy Susan, where you can actually put more records in and so forth, and giving each one of the office holders their own cubby hole to put them in, and historical documents that have to be checked out through the librarian. There were gonna be a kind of a little viewing area with a table and so forth, where they could actually look at the documents there, the historical documents, and then, but we've not met since then. I don't know, is Susan going to set up the meeting, or do we have to?
I think we were waiting on some numbers. I
Some
think we
numbers.
received that email last week with the 250
I
per
just-
square feet.
I just have a feeling the cost is gonna be more than
It's
we
gonna be-
Oh,
anticipated.
gosh, yeah.
And
Let
then,
me ask this part of it. Here's what I missed. Buddy, you be listening, put your phone down, listen to me. Listen, look at me.
Yes, Papa.
When we first started talking about all this building stuff, that was our first one. Then we come up with one we're gonna do back here for the election commission office.
Yeah.
But Buddy was real big on it, and I'm in agreement with Buddy. I thought we were gonna be building a separate, standalone, multi-storage building behind the county building. I thought we were doing that. I thought what was going at the library was a very small addition to do the historical records and things like that, and a place to look at them and view them and stuff like that. But I think Bill or somebody sent me the floor plans of it, and that was the first time I had seen that we had decided to locate the big storage
No, yeah.
over there.
This building is for all the elected officials. Part of it will be historical documents.
Right.
And then the majority of it will be for the elected officials to put their records in.
So that eliminates the one behind the
Well, I
building?
think we totally missed the mark.
I missed that one altogether.
So I think you've gotta go back to the addition on the library that come for historical records. And then you can build an addition behind
Now,
for.
are you on that committee?
I'm on
Okay,
that.
Well, here's my question then. Why don't we just have it all attached to the library? Why do we have to have it behind the office building?
I like the
I
idea.
think with from my perspective, I think with the amount, the square footage that you have to do, then you get into the sprinkler systems, you get into.
We don't have to have a sprinkler system with
But
documents.
he mentioned either a sprinkler system or
Fire-
a fireproof.
should consider
Right,
sprinkler
fire lockers.
He's interested in that no matter where it is though.
Right.
Buddy, let me ask you something. We all know you can have a fire and things burn up and life goes on. We've learned that. Did you abandon the second, I mean, have you abandoned that? I don't know where this storage over at the library, I don't even care. Let me be clear, it doesn't matter to me. I like the idea of the individual, the big building behind the county building with individual doors for each of the office holders. I just didn't know it was gonna be at the library. I thought the location of the county building was probably better than the library.
There's
200 feet.
there's not
could be.
enough space here, up at the county
Oh, then
building.
we could build a big building back there.
Well, you're gonna put one for the election bill, you're gonna fill
On
that space.
this side of
up.
the parking lot, the other will be on the back side.
Well-
But it doesn't matter, I want to make sure we're not fixing to come back later on and want to do a third one.
Putting it with the library allows the librarian to help control the ebb and flow of documents. Primarily, theirs will be historical documents, but they'll also be there, you know, I assume each elected officials will have their own punch-in code to access. I don't think there're gonna be any sheetrock walls, it'd be kind of like, open mesh fence for the files to sit in there and where the elected officials can come in and access theirs.
Sure.
Part of it is for historical, but that building's supposed to take care of all the records needs. Current, you know, what we're currently paying, or the insurance company's paying rent on, all the elected, everybody that has to keep records will go to that one building along with the historical records.
And I'm good with whatever y'all come up with, I just didn't know where we shifted. And I don't want Buddy to come back here in another 6 months, and now we're gonna build another $500,000 one back here. This
I think-
eliminates it.
This take-
I think with this one though, it does eliminate the records behind the office building. You're only gonna need one AC unit or one system. You don't need a system over here for the historic records and then one back behind for those other ones. So I think it's.
Well, you'll have HVAC for the new addition.
Right,
My whole
okay,
thing is, I
right.
don't think it's gonna be enough. I still don't think it'll be enough, because, you know, court records, we can never get rid of. If we build on, like we're planning with Susan Harrison's addition, then that's gonna give Miss Blair more space for her stuff, because there's payroll, there's several of her records that we can't ever get rid of. We put them on microfilm for state law, but who uses microfilm anymore? Then you get that tweaked.
Well, part of that has to go to ag, part of it is gonna be.
But even, you know, even here, this building itself, like Carrie or Tracy, or maybe not Tracy, not as much as maybe Chip and Mike, this building,
Nothing will come
we're
from
out of
Tracy.
space, period. We don't have any storage space in Loudon County.
Well, we will when we have 3,400 square feet. That's a lot of room.
Yeah, but you split that up.
We'll let the next generation worry about when they run out.
May I ask a follow-up?
We had everything in the basement of the courthouse before the fire.
We sure did. And half of it could be thrown away. We gotta make sure we're getting rid of the right
That's the
documents.
key, get rid of stuff. Pat, you've already talked.
I know, but
Once is all.
it was too short.
It was.
She's invoking executive privilege here.
I have a concern, especially with the archives. I don't know if you're aware, and I'll forward this information to you, but with the archives, they require more care because of their age. And there's more of a criteria when it comes to the preservation of those archives. So I'd like to
What
forward
do you
that.
call an archives? Define what you're saying are archives.
I'm talking about the old historical records, the
Okay.
ones that go back
She's
to
talking about the old stuff.
1800, 1870, 1890.
Mm.
And also, we have records going forward that still should be maintained. We have lots of trustee books, the old tax books, when, you know, when people were hardly paying anything in taxes, but it was a considerable sum back in the 1890s. So we have all of that information, and we have all sorts of old school registers at schools that don't exist anymore. So I think that's historical information that the community will welcome and would want to see. But there's a certain criteria when it comes to the storage of those records. We have to use certain metal, shelving, and also the actual housing of the records. It requires extra. So I'd like to, share that information with you so the architect is aware of that. And it was my understanding that you were gonna build a large storage facility behind the library, and that it would have a section for the department heads. I'm concerned like you, Coach. I think that, and also you, Mayor, I am concerned about the estimates that we are going by. I'm going to be working with Ms. Niles in the courts because their records are voluminous. And it can accumulate in a very short period. And I think you pointed out, we don't want a facility that we're full from the onset. So if we can work on that information to bring to you and to the committee as well as the criteria, I think that would be helpful.
Will you email us the criteria to us tonight?
I will.
Thank you.
When we have the next meeting, I'll have them let you know and you can attend.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, that concludes public comments. Jim Jenkins, step to the podium and tell us about the zoning resolution.
The concession stand will be open.
The first one's amending the zoning map of Loudon County, Tennessee pursuant to Chapter 713-7-105 Tennessee Code annotated to rezone from A1 Agricultural Forestry District to C2 General Commercial District, Loudon County Tax Map 036, parcel 95.00, located at 3899 Vineyard Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in 3rd Legislative District.
That's Mr. Gaddis. This is an adjoining piece of property right next to the one he already has, and it's already been rezoned for that. I don't see a problem with it, other than like talk to Jim, he might just want to put them both together into one piece, but I don't have a problem with it in District 3.
That's yours.
The next one's a resolution
Now-
amending.
Go ahead, that'll be on August 1st.
Yes, sir, thank you. Sorry. The next one's a resolution amending Loudon County zoning resolution, Article 4, sections 4.082 through 4.089.2, Articles 5, Section 5.042 C10, 5.043 C5, and 5.044 B2, and 5.050 pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated Section 13.7-105.
And this is to take out all the HUD references to the zoning. This gives him the authority to
This
take it out.
eliminates all references to PUDs.
Okay,
August 1st.
August 1st.
Thank you. The last one is a resolution amending the zoning map of Loudon County, Tennessee pursuant to Chapter 7, 13-7-105 Tennessee Code annotated to rezone from A1 Agricultural Forestry District to A2 Rural Residential District, Loudon County Tax Map 041, parcel 034.00, located at Poplar Springs Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 1st Legislative District.
They'll be out there with hazmat suits.
This is what they wanna do, like airsoft or something?
It's air.
Yeah, about 15 acre portion of it, that's what we're looking to do.
Cause the rest of it's in a land conservatory or something like that,
It
is
is.
what he was telling. It was quite a lengthy conversation there the other night, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
It was.
illuminating, yeah. They doing what me and my brothers used to get out and shoot BB guns at each other.
Absolutely.
Anything else for Jim?
That's all I have.
All right, they'll all be on August 1st commission meeting. Have a safe trip.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks. Buddy Bradshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do
Oh,
have a
oh,
couple-
oh, hang on, oh.
What?
Jim reminded me I didn't bring something up I was supposed to bring up. He was gonna give us an update on the, duplex and multifamily density that was discussed at the planning commission
There
meeting.
was some discussions, I
Jog
guess,
me,
come
Jim,
down.
jog me.
Some discussion come down from the county commission on some recommendations to look at. It was, units per acre on multifamily development. We discussed that at the planning commission, the meeting, going from 2.5 units per acre to 2.0 units per acre. We should
Which is
have
what we
that-
thought we had all along, but some of us were
It's
confused.
what some thought we had, but
I think all of us except Jim thought that, so we had a real clog there when it got to Jim's.
I'll just go by what the book says, but, we'll have a resolution, that should be on the next planning commission meeting. The planning commission had also discussed at a previous meeting, and we discussed at an official workshop, duplexes. Their recommendation for the discussion is leaning toward the duplexes being required to be attached to sewer to have a duplex. Whether it's, no matter the zoning. district.
Right now, you can have duplex with just a septic system.
Correct.
And, a couple of the members were real quick to point out, I agree 100%, you shouldn't ever have a duplex, a multifamily, anything on a septic system.
That is correct.
Notice how we've dealt with a lot of side
Last
houses.
Well, I'm gonna ask you, and we've had this conversation privately.
Yes.
In Adams district, but on my property, you know what
Not
my
just your
property,
property is.
not just my property, everybody on the upper end, we're being washed away from these developers and their mud runoff.
Okay.
Nothing we can do about it. T-Deck, I mean, don't tell me T-Deck, cause Fraser's not gonna do anything. He tells the property owner next door, they're in violation cause they're riding their four-wheeler through the ditch. And you're looking at a mud hole up here so deep, you can't even see the top of it. So forget Ted, as county, can we do anything to rein these just developers that could care less what they're doing to us? Can we do anything? I wanna put a stop work order on so they can't build another thing till they fix their mud runoff. Can we do that?
Are they allowed to run mud into the creek per county regulations?
Well, I mean, no, they have a SWIP in place that tells them how they have control.
But county regulations, are they allowed, not TDEC regulations or state, per county regulations, are they allowed to run mud into the creek?
So I guess I would say this, under the county regulations, they're providing us documents on how they're gonna control erosion and sediment, right, with the silt fencing detention ponds. As far as the contrast of water, it's very subjective, okay, it's contrast of water, but that is truly up to the state. So we do get those documents, and of course, the planning office will go to the sites to see what they have in place. There's one site in particular that has development occurring on it that has professional people coming in and working on it. But
Not working.
ultimately, of course, and I even talked to Mr. Fraser last week, you know, technically it is the state that handles that and determines that they're out of compliance. You
Can
know,
we,
I look
can
at
we
our-
do anything, as a body, can we say in our zoning regulations, when you pump mud in the creek, you're done. When you flood the people downstream from you, you're done till you fix it. Do we have the power to do that? Look
I can't
into
answer
that.
that right now.
Look into that and see, cause if we can, we gotta do something, cause they're gonna wash everybody away with red clay mud, not just here, you know what's happening all over the county. It happened in Avalon for 2 years at one house, right?
Right, and for what it's worth, in those situations, yes, we have more teeth.
Yeah.
When we have a house being constructed, then it can come through the codes office to get that into compliance. The larger developments, on North Shore or on Mills Chapel, those are a little more suspect.
Can we just stop issuing building permits until they clean it up?
Well, that don't fix.
Here's the
Farmstead.
problem I would see with that, when you have the entity that regulates that, saying they're in compliance, that could be a problem.
They're in compliance with state, but the county has their own rules.
Can you see if you can find out if we can do anything? Cause obviously, again, T-Deck used to be scary. Everybody was scared to death of T-Deck. They didn't want nobody calling T-Deck. Apparently, the man running the show now, he's all in favor of washing just as much mud down the road as you can wash. The road's covered, the creek's covered, flooding into the Tennessee River. You would think T-Deck would care, but obviously they do not anymore.
Well, in the detention ponds, nothing settles in it. It just stays muddy water. None of the mud settles. So I don't know what's wrong with the ponds.
I've not been out there to look at that in a while. You know, I know at first they didn't have the skimmer in it. Now, I assume they have the skimmer. but
Skimmer's a huge problem, but that's for a different
And I
conversation.
don't know, you know, it's supposed to have twice weekly inspections, and of course, when the state comes out to see those inspections are being done, all the paperwork is required to be kept together so they can see that it's being done, but I don't know how often the state is actually coming to the job.
If you'll find out if we can take any action, I would certainly pursue it as our body to try to get folks to understand what a nightmare it's been up there. It's almost as bad as bicycles, almost.
We worked on that, and Greg has the state's actually coming in for an audit for us, around the 1st of August.
Why don't we have an audit meeting up there on Bill Chapel Road?
I don't know if that's where we want to have it.
That'd be a
That's right.
great place to have it. There's 3 of them, guys. There's 3 developments up there right now that's got enough mud exposed, and all 3 of them come through the Cedar Hills old golf course, through me, through the next property owner, through the next property owner, and comes out under the big tunnel right there below the dam. You know, you've seen the tunnel from that side. That's where Muddy Creek comes into the Tennessee River, and when it's going good, you can go down and it's just, it looks like it's bleeding out from under that bridge. It's so bad. And I know I just said the word Muddy Creek. That is the name of the creek. And one of the developers said, isn't the name of that creek Muddy Creek? I said, yes, it is, but it's not called Red Clay Creek. It's a whole different thing. Let me tell you right now.
I'm tired of hearing him complain about it. So we need
He's
to fix it.
my commissioner, so I complain to him.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mayor, we can go back to,
And Rich has a question.
Does those overlays also include Telecom Village?
no,
No, Teleco Village is its own entity.
Nope.
They are old TRDA property, they're their own entity, we don't do anything with zoning in Teleco Village.
Yep.
They have runoff there too. It goes into the lake.
Yeah, so Teleco Village monitors and regulates all the runoff. All the county does for Teleco Village is we issue a building permit through our office, and we do their building inspections, but we don't do anything with site
What
development.
I just found out today is there's 2 guys building the houses next to me.
Mhm.
When the guy built the house above me, all his water was coming right at me. And I got the POA to divert it. And they diverted it to the left, down to those 2 empty lots. And I asked Clayton, I said, what are you gonna do when they build those houses? Why don't you ditch that where it's supposed to be now? He said, we'll worry about it when they build it. Well, they built one. And the damn water's eroding right between the 2 lots, going right to the lake. And I found out from the owner of the first house that they changed the damn regs, and he's responsible for the drainage ditch.
I know they've had some regulations changed.
I'm sorry.
I know they've had some regulations.
Hey, y'all wanna
changed.
swap phone numbers and take this up tomorrow sometime? We're
Yeah.
kinda right in the middle of something here.
Thank you.
okay. Buddy, we can finally get to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have 3 other ones I need to talk about, add on for the, for consider for the work for the August meeting, I'm sorry. First is the warranty deed regarding transfer of the property from TRDA to Loudon County on behalf. This is an agreement Brian Hall and, Chief Lett worked out. They're going to build an additional fire hall at the end of Morgan's Road, I think around, Coach says Baker Creek camper, or Baker Creek boat ramp. It will be possession of Loudon County, but it can only be used as it's stated in the warranty deed for the purpose of the fire hall. And so we would own it, we would do one of the 99-year leases for $1 a year deals, and Greenback Fire construct it. I would ask that be placed on the agenda.
3rd District, what do you say, Bill?
Oh, that's fine with me. Can't have too many too much fire protection.
August 1st, it'll be on the agenda, Mayor.
Thank you very much, and I have a couple of committees we need to go ahead and do. I'll have a full slate for August. The ones, changes, and I got several changes, the ones we need to get done are probably the audit committee, Tammy, I'm gonna replace Commissioner Tinker with Commissioner-elect Jenkins. Because we need to have an audit committee meeting sometime pretty soon. Budget committee, Commissioner Whitfield will replace Commissioner Mears. Capital projects, Commissioner Whitfield, Brewster, and Tinker are coming off. Commissioner-elect Jenkins, Commissioner-elect Randolph, Commissioner-elect Quillen will be going on.
Which project, I mean, which one was that?
Capital
Capital
projects.
So who makes up that full one right there then?
Capital,
Yeah,
it'll be those three and you.
okay.
You're still on it.
So Whitfield,
And Harold, I'm sorry, Commissioner Duff, I mean. Whitfield's coming off, Commissioner Brewster's coming off, Commissioner Tinker's coming off.
Well, Whitfield didn't get beat, why don't he get to stay on? That don't seem fair to me.
He's going to
Some
budget.
of the new folks.
He's going to
He's going to
budget.
budget.
Yeah, I'm coming to budget.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you gotta keep
If you
him
don't,
up.
he might send you a request like I did.
Yeah,
I figured 3 News, we'll have $3 million request come next budget cycle.
yeah.
You can tell how that works, Bill, you can remind
I
me.
know now.
You
Learn
know,
to do it.
that's $200,000, that's all you got.
Yeah.
what was
Hold
the other
on.
one?
Purchasing,
Okay,
Commissioners Tinker, Brewster, and Whitfield are coming off it as well. They'll be replaced with Quillen, Randolph, and Jenkins.
Well, you putting newbies on them pretty big
So
committee,
who's
all right?
that big committee? Who's the full committee for that then? Those three plus two?
Purchasing,
Yes, sir.
the three newcomers, and Commissioner Duff, myself, and Susan Husky.
I'll prepare the resolutions and get them to you just to confirm I've got it exactly right.
And then the rest, we can kinda.
Have you taken input from newbies?
No?
Well, you might want to. I mean, you know, you got a bunch coming up right now, and we're fixing to talk about a little bit more on my part too, which definitely impacts them. So you may want to get some input on, because some of these people represent us, and I'm sure they're gonna want.
Well, Rosemary's been here before, so
Yeah.
she's
It's
got
been a while,
it.
she's probably forgot by then.
Are we gonna renew all the others as well, or just
I
focus on
will
these?
have a full slate
You wanna just get with me?
available, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And that's for August first?
I figure those are the four we may need in September.
Cause the majority of them happen in August, so, okay.
Okay.
The investor ceremony is August the 30th. It'll be here in this room. Probably gonna start around 5 o'clock. And everybody, don't forget September meeting, put on your Sunday best, cause it'll be our picture night as well.
I have mine on now, what are you saying, bud?
Everybody but Van.
Wash
make
your
sure
good
you-
I
overalls.
will.
And I think that's actually all I have. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Commissioner Shaver.
All right, Mr. Chairman, mine is kind of simple, kind of complicated, not too bad. For many years back, the most official resolution was written in 2001. Loudon County had a regional planning commission, and it was governed by the Executive Planning Council. It worked exactly like the EDA. It was the same exact setup. The county and the 2 cities didn't have anything to do with the Executive Planning Council. We just gave them money. The Executive Planning Council was made up of membership just like the EDA was. They hired their planner, they made all the rules and regulations, and that's how life worked, just like EDA. In 2009, Harold would have been here. In 2009, Lenore City pulled out. They decided to start their own planning, which was probably good. It had gotten big enough that one person couldn't do the whole county nearly as good as what we needed to. So at that time, the Regional Planning Council was abolished. And all of the original setup was done away with, and the Planning Commission was brought in under the umbrella of the county mayor. That's when Doyle Arp was here. And that's when they brought that in, and it became a county service. From that day forward, Loudon City made a contribution to the county. Y'all are gonna remember this real well, of $25,000. And then I believe it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, when we said, okay, we wanna up that to 50 because so much of the work was coming from the city of Loudon. So the city of Loudon decided to do their own planning thing. So they're out. So our planning commission now only addresses Loudon County issues. Neither one of the cities do we do anything with. Philadelphia and Greenback, we still do a little bit of stuff, but the two big cities are out. Well, in the original setup, the original resolution and setup of the Loudon County Regional Planning Commission, you had the county commission membership just like we have. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the fifth, 1 from each of the other districts except Tellico Village, because we don't have planning jurisdiction in Tellico Village. So 7th district has never had a member on it. Also, the membership includes, and I want to make sure and leave names out of this. The membership includes the chairman of the Little City Planning Commission and the chairman of the Loudon City Planning Commission. They still are members of this board. What that does is it gives Loudon and Little City 3 members from within inside the cities. What we would like to do is eliminate, now that we're no longer regional, eliminate those 2 chairman positions, one from Loudon and one from Little City. I think there's no question the cities have a different view of development than the county does have. Plus that takes us from 11 members to 9 members. A better committee to deal with. So this is for consideration to eliminate these 2 positions from the planning commission. Does it make sense? I mean, the county doesn't have members on the city planning commission, so. Anybody got a major issue there?
No. You wanna put it to a vote on August 1st?
Well, I don't know if we're ready for a vote, maybe.
I say we vote on it.
Jim, you want throw in on that any?
I don't have a lot to say on that, no.
Okay.
I just think if it ain't broke, why are we fixing it?
It is broke. We're fixing it.
I disagree. I mean, they're doing their job. I mean, the commission.
Why should the
actually
cities
has-
each get extra votes on the county business?
Well, they're also, whoever lives in the city is a District 1 rep, whoever.
And they have to already.
They have to.
So why should they get an extra
District
third one?
2.
Well, I want an extra one from the 6th district then.
I just think it ain't broke. I don't know.
It is broke.
That's me.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
again,
have a vote
it
on
was regional. We lost Little City. We lost Loudon. Yet we're still working under the same parameters we had before. So I would rather see the 9-member board. I'd rather see the planning commission represented just like the county commission is, rather than having, additional representation.
I'd like to see either a 2nd or 1st district commissioner on either one of those for the cities too.
Well, that's up to the city.
Yeah.
I
Good
wouldn't
luck.
hold your breath on that.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. I'll let you know, Tammy. I'll let you know. I'll talk to Jim. I don't see, and again, I really want to be real careful that we leave names off of it, because those have changed over the years. Whoever the chairmans are, right now it's Leon and Carly are the chairman of the 2 prospective planning commissions. So, but it's got nothing to do with the persons, it's the positions that I'd like to see gone. I'll let you know, Tammy, what we decide.
Okay,
Makes it
All right.
representation.
Commissioner Waller?
Rich already talked a little bit about this, where $30,000 was spent at Poplar Springs. And I got copies of the invoices, 2 invoices totaling $30,000. One invoice says pipe, $6,750, just pipe. And the other says installation, $23,250. So I'm just curious, did the solid waste ever vote on that, for that to be approved, to be spent? Did it go through Susan Husky's office? How was the contractor picked? I just got a lot of questions about that project. And I know it went through the mayor's office.
I signed off on the bill, once the bill was issued, yes. I don't know Bill Connor, don't know him.
Who hired him? Who hired him?
The solid waste move, the solid waste project.
Did the Solid Waste Commission hire Bill Connor?
That's what we know of.
You've got a member right there.
It's never discussed.
I have brought up Poplar Spring over a number of months, and I just received sketchy information. To my knowledge, we did not vote to approve the project. Matter of fact, finding out after the fact, I wasn't even really sure what the invoices were.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there, because TDEC doesn't really know either. There was
Well,
some,
we didn't vote on
there
it.
was some issues.
To my knowledge, I missed one.
Time out. TDEC doesn't know what's going on either, because they had this letter they sent in June that says, okay, there's pipe in the ground, but she's also asking to show me where it is and what it's doing. And this was sent on June 28th to the mayor and Kelly, and they've received nothing back. TDEC is still waiting, and I talked to her last week on Friday, and she said she had no clue what was going on. And they're still waiting for water samples to make sure that people's wells aren't being poisoned from the landfill. And that's been an open issue since November 23rd, 2021.
I recall asking in January the status of Poplar Springs. My concern is we're running out of money and we still have X amount of years to go. So that has been my concern all along. It's not only the money, but it's also an environmental issue because we do have people on well water. So that is my chief concern. But we have not been, to my knowledge, and I missed part of a meeting and I looked at the minutes, there was no vote. So there was no vote. And I don't know what the protocol is. I have brought it up at meetings that I believe we should be voting on any expenditures, all expenditures, most especially since we do not have a budget. And my concerns have really just gone in one ear and out the other. Unless I have a second, or someone agrees that we should be approving every last invoice because we don't have a budget, we're gonna continue to have things like this that come up that we have no earthly idea what's going on.
Well, shouldn't a contract of $30,000 go through the purchasing office?
Well, solid waste is an island unto theirself. It could have. I'll tell
Is
you,
it supposed to go through the purchasing department?
that's
Procurement.
solid waste.
Procurement
We're
office.
supposed to follow the 1957 purchasing law, at
Yes.
least.
We did everything else. The other $400,000 we spent went all through the purchasing
A
office.
lot of that came through my office as well, though. That was part of it.
But was stuff bid out at that point?
When? With
Any of the other
original?
$400,000?
Original?
Why was this not bid out? Why was just some random person selected to spend $30,000?
Well, he knew what he was doing, obviously, because.
TDEC doesn't know what he did.
Oh, well, I've got the letter, and it's,
I do too. It says, The division would like to remind the county the requirements of inspection and maintenance of stormwater, then it also talks about, sample results, updated views of the survey and drawing of cross sections may be sent to Sarah. So like, she has no idea what was done out there. I talked to her on Friday.
When the recycling director spoke with her, was the first time since, I can't speak from when Mayor Harris was here, but in 9 years that they were content. We've had the one spot that ever since my first visit has seeped water. Van, you know which one it was, that.
It'll
and
seep again.
It is no longer seeping water. They are shooting down the riprap where it's supposed to be. The process, I'm not gonna ignore the state to fuss about the salad on it because they're having, the water monitoring is something we have to do anyway under the.
They've asked to do it since November 23rd, it's not been done.
Do what?
She's asked for water sample back in November 23rd, and it's still not been done.
Well, we'll get a contractor out and we're happy to do it because they did it when we first started this. Seems like eternal journey and, everything was good and that was part of the part of it, but,
I'm going back to $30,000. How does $30,000 get spent and not follow the 57 procurement process?
it was 2 different projects, so as far as the bid.
No, it
No.
was one project. You
If
can't
it's
just
the same
say materials
contractor.
and
Well,
labor
2
are
invoices is what
Well,
I signed.
$30,000 for one project.
Yeah, if it's the same contractor, you don't get to split it up to beat the bid process.
But, the problem, that spot is now dry
Who signed the bills on this
and
thing?
seeded.
It went through his office, but it was signed by Kelly and Larry Jameson.
Who?
Larry and Kelly.
What the hell did Jameson have to do with it?
I don't know. That's why I was hoping she'd be here.
Does any of their bills come through Susan, or they just?
Well, Miss
pay their
Blair
own
pays
way?
them.
We're the fiscal agent, county is fiscal agent for solid waste.
And Tracy's supposed to write the checks for them? I just remember all those other times that we've dealt with Poplar Springs, it all came here, we talked about it, knew about it. And this one just I have questions about too, I don't.
I'm gonna call the comptroller tomorrow and ask them, because there's no answers here. So, I mean, $30,000 just willy-nilly.
Well, just to point out, somebody said earlier, let's make clarification, there is no such thing as a Poplar Springs post-closure fund, it doesn't exist. Tracy Blair salvaged this early on, 8 years ago, so we spent $423,000 or $7,000 left in that fund now. We physically fixed it twice, this is the second
I
time.
thought it was 3.
The first time was the big one.
fix, we went in and had to re-sold some stuff. And
That's
this one
where
here-
And we don't even
Contract.
own it. It's owned by a private citizen.
That's correct.
That flood from T-Deck, if y'all can deny.
We don't
it,
wanna go
whatever,
that far.
Sat right here and told me to my face, told Chris Parks to his face, fix it or we'll fix it and send you a bill.
I wish we'd gone the other way, but that's neither here nor there. But the $430,000 is down to $7,000. 3/4 of that went to attorneys. The two contract prices were very small, but there is no more money to fix anything else. Rich was talking about having to generate money. That's not gonna be our problem. That's gonna be the solid waste problem. They've got several $1,000,000, and then that starts eating into their post-closure for Matlock bin. I mean, this is $430,000 absolutely flushed, and we're still no better off than we were
Oh, well, yes, much better off than we were.
for this month.
We'll put some lines, some seed, get it fixed and situated in 5 years, whatever it is, we're completely out of it.
You know
You
better
promise?
than that. You know
It's
better
a
than that.
contract.
Well,
He assumes all
it
responsibility.
sounds to me like it certainly didn't follow our prescribed procedures. I don't know, you're being real kind, I don't know how it happened. But Henry can't sign contracts, Henry can't hire contractors, and he's the chairman of the county commission. I don't know how anybody else can do that from anywhere. Something, well, Anyhow.
I'll keep digging.
anyhow.
Okay,
First paragraph meant the world to me personally. Did not observe any leachate seeps or ponded liquids and did observe liquid discharge from the outlet of a subsurface pipe. The division considers these repairs to fulfill the requirements of section 3.2 of the monitoring, inspection, and maintenance plan.
But,
And
then
we
keep,
got
then-
this-
but keep reading, she keeps asking for information we've not provided.
She wants a water sample, we've been doing those, I'll follow up.
She wants to know what was done under the ground. She has no idea what pipes were put where.
Nor do we. You got a $6,700 pipe.
It just says pipe. I
$2,700
mean, how long
hole.
is that pipe? I mean,
It works.
Now, you know we got the same letter from them 6 years ago when we fixed it, remember? Oh, it's great, it's wonderful, it's fixed, it's great, just watch it for the
Yeah,
next
we
10
put
years.
everything on that one spot from, turf to, we've stopped short of putting AstroTurf down.
We'll do it again too.
Line grass seed.
I'll keep digging.
all right. Is that it, Commissioner Waller?
I hope so.
Tracy Blair?
Thank you, Commissioner. The Budget Committee is recommending approval of some grants with applications and acceptance, and a few amendments in the county general fund, and that's all from the Budget Committee.
Yeah, we also, just from the budget committee, just another tidbit, Chief Bill Hart came in, he has a, I don't know, he has a pretty good plan in place
plan.
for the Loudon County Fire and Rescue new structure. Anybody wants a copy of that, I've got them in my office, I'll be happy to provide those. But it's, nothing to vote on in August, but that's on the horizon.
ARPA.
Okay, is
ARPA.
that it, Tracy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anything further? Call for adjournment.
We're adjourned.
Okay.
We hadn't had Pat and all these people talking all night, we've been done a long time ago. I'll tell you who's happy tonight. That young lady sitting on the back row, she gets to get out here early tonight.
He needs to get home before dark.
Absolutely.